BMQ live at Delicious at the Dunbar, Sunday, 2/23/2020. It's mid-April. The year is 2020. The world, including the city of Los Angeles, reels from a deadly novel coronavirus that sneaks up on its unsuspecting victims like a thief in the night. These days, governments beg their citizens to stay home unless absolutely necessary to do otherwise. People rarely brave venturing outdoors, but when they do, for example, to shop for groceries, they wrap themselves up so well they look more like aliens than humans. We are noseless and mouthless and reluctant to offer platitudes to strangers. And our deep sunken eyes are laden with suspicion, grave concern, and fright born of uncertainty. But another way to look at this new normal is that we have time on our hands. This time cocoon has compelled me, for example, to pursue a number of projects that I otherwise would not pursue. So one project entails me to learn and discover more about how to use the vast array of modern technology tools that people are using to facilitate virtual communication. This current project, Last Date, offers a glimpse into BMQ's last performance before the COVID-19 lockdown. Today on Last Date, we will be listening to BMQ's 2/23/20 performance of my modal composition, MoWatt. This song pays homage to BMQ's fantastic drummer, Ricardo MoWatt. Now, Ricardo plays drums with gusto. And when he gets warmed up, the band has to amp up its play, more wattage, you see. In our 2/23 performance of MoWatt, Ricardo opens with a glistening intro before locking into a tasty groove. Soon, BMQ's bassist, Marion Newton, whom we call Bass Cobb, he inserts the tune's bass line. The rest of the band offers their hellos before we begin playing the melody. And then the fun begins. Here then is part one of BMQ's last performance of MoWatt on 2/23/2020 at Delicious. That calls for a tea break. Black tea with honey and a cup of joy. You know, I had no idea that we had recordings of our performance at Delicious on February 23rd. But actually, it turns out that both Paul Batson, our guitarist, he has a recording device near his chair. He's pretty much recording everything, both sets. And our pianist, Greg Broadous, recorded some of the tunes. Now this one, MoWatt, was recorded by Paul. You can see that the guitar, the sound of the guitar is prominent in the recording because the recording is so close to him. You know. But it's like, you know, when Dean Benedetti recorded Bird back at, you know, years ago during the 40s. I think he was in the bathroom, you know, at Billy Berg's in Hollywood, and he had a nice microphone that captured a lot of the music played by Bird. And so, in that light, it's important to document our performance using, you know, any means necessary. So we've got what we've got, and it's fascinating just listening sometimes, you know. Now I'll have another sip of this wonderful tea. before we move on and let the great Greg Broadous take over with his solo, and then you'll be treated to another drum interlude by Ricardo, and then we'll take it out. MoWatt, Last Date. Greetings, gentlemen. Thanks a million for participating in Last Date, in which we chronicle the Blue Morning Quintet's last performance before the COVID-19 lockdown. The place, Delicious at the Dunbar Hotel on Central Avenue in Los Angeles. The time, Sunday, February 23rd, 2020. In this episode, we focus on the performance of the tune MoWatt, which we've just been listening to again. Before we discuss MoWatt, though, let's warm up a bit. So, guys, please introduce yourselves. At minimum, your name, your instrument, and your favorite entree at Delicious.
Are you on Zoom?
Shall we start with Paul?
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Paul Batson. I play guitar with the Blue Morning Quintet. My favorite entree down at Delicious is they call it the Gulf Sampler. It's got a lot of different seafood and fish fried varieties that I think is amazing. And also a big portion of fries, which they do a good job with the potato too. So yeah, I really enjoy that.
Hey there, greetings everyone. My name is Ricardo. I like to put in L.J. MoWatt. That's a mouthful. My family calls me Ricky. I am the drummer for the Blue Morning Quintet. And my favorite dish at Delicious at the Dunbar would be the meatloaf platter with mashed potatoes, greens, and yams.
Wow. I'm going to do that next time.
I can taste it already.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marion Newton. I'm the bass player for the Blue Morning Quintet. And my favorite dish at the Dunbar is the jambalaya. I love it. It's tasty, it's spicy, makes me sweat. It's good.
So that's why you were sweating, huh? I'm Randy Boss. I'm the saxophonist with the Blue Morning Quintet. And my favorite, I have lots of favorites, actually. I love the oxtails when I can get some. Seems like they're usually gone, though, by the time I get around to wanting some. Today, we're missing our pianist, Greg Broadous. He's not able to hang out with us today in cyberspace, wherever we are, but he'll be with us in the future. So, MoWatt, we've been talking some about that already. Ricardo, let's start with you. I mean, you had some interesting thoughts about how to get this thing started.
So what I wanted to do, and I've always wanted to do, and will continue to try to do, is use the drums to paint a picture, right? And so the song's name, MoWatt, implies electricity. And
right,
so one of my challenges has always been to, how do I get that electricity started? And so one of my favorite drummers is Brian Blades. And Brian Blades has this way of starting a song literally from nothing, and by the time it's done, it's a tornado. So the idea of that particular performance was to start by introducing the concept of electricity, hence the rolls and the breaks and the snaps and all that, like crackling, like we're getting ready to do something that's going to be electric for the song's namesake. And then the challenge was to set up a groove where you guys could ride that electricity all the way through.
Right.
So the picture I'm wanted to paint was, if you imagine electric lines and each of you guys gets to put your electricity, for lack of a better word, on that line, that's where I wanted it to go. And so by the time we arrived at wherever that point was, the destination, we needed to be full blast.
Wonderful.
Wow.
So Marion, so Ricardo kicks it off, and that's when you come in. So what happens at that point?
Well, this song for me has always been primeval or tribal. You know, when I hear this song, I think of Africa, man. I think of moving through the rainforest and going from village to village, you know. And so my interpretation is that I wanted to try to portray this image of being in a rainforest, you know, and listen to the sound of drums, you know, as you move through the rainforest. And that bass line that you've written, it's just for me, it's just, you know, do 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 do, you know, that just it's powerful.
Oh, so Paul, so the melody, we lay the melody down, and then it's your turn to.
I was thinking fiddlesticks. It's my turn. Okay, that tune, there's so much space in it that I have a tendency to, my mind gets like Lord Reginald, you know. Lord Reginald flung himself upon his horse and rode madly off in all directions. You have so many there's so many possibilities, and you almost don't know which way to go with it. So you start trying to, you know, run a thread, and, you know, my head starts pinging off of stuff. It's so open. And, you know, then, you know, I hear angles a lot because Greg is playing those fourths and stuff like that. You hear that? And then that bass is bringing it down, and that groove is there. You're just trying to, I mean, there's just so many possibilities to.
Well, yours helped to set me up because all along I'm listening, right? I've got this infectious groove that Ricardo's laying down, and I've got, you know, Marion, he's got that, he's locked in to the, you know, to the rainforest. He's got, you know, that's back in. So you know, so it's like a nice steady thing that's going on. They're playing in the pocket, like, you know. I'm listening to Marion, and as I get started, you know, I say hello again, you know, and all that. How are you? That's something that Mingus told his drummer, Danny Richmond, you know, because Danny used to come in like that, you know. He says, Richmond says, you know, I mean, Mingus said, don't do it like that, you know. So first you got to come in and say, hello, how are you? You know, I just think that to me, you know, just come on, ease in, you know, just ease in a little bit, you know, lay out, and then before you go crazy, you know. And so I'm listening, man, the groove is cool. So all I got to do is just put it in a few places. I got a lot of space thing I can work with, you know. And then we get started, it's, you know, because I don't know how things happen, you know. And something happens and the energy shoots up. So yeah, there's an electricity thing that does happen. And Ricardo is playing off of that, you know, so he's firing it up, you know. So once he senses it, he begins to, you know, just work with it. You know, it's like he's adding the energy, and we just keep going up and up and up, you know, until we have like a combustion of sorts. It's just the way.
Can I make a couple of comments, gentlemen? Can I make a couple of comments?
Sure.
Yes. So, as the drummer, my job is to make all you guys sound good. Number one, that's a direct quote from Art Blakey. My job is to make everybody sound good. The other part is that we each feed off of each other in different ways. Everybody feeds off of different instruments. Your job is to figure out which one you feed off of. And so when you hit that spot, you know that you and that instrument or that person can go places. Is in my opinion, Randy feeds off of the bass lines a lot. Randy also depends on me as the drummer to make sure that I give the cues to come in at the right places. Exactly. Because once you start playing, sometimes you lose track of what's who, and like you said, stuff comes out of nowhere. I, as the drummer, still have to be right there. I can go off because I have an internal clock, but I can't go off unless you guys know where I'm going and how to get back. And so
the tricky part about MoWatt, though, is the fact is that space needs to be there. You know, but da 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 da, that beat needs to be there.
Right.
Da, 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 da. That little beat needs to be there. That little, it's like breathing. It's like talking.
So once we do that, now we got Paul's solo, we've got my solo, and then we've got Greg's solo. It is a very nice solo.
He does a real nice solo.
Yeah, great job. And I wish he were here too.
It wasn't long though. I was expecting.
Yeah, I would say that on my part, I sometimes I don't like to be too loud, but I think I could have been a little louder on this one because I can barely hear myself.
Right, that's true.
I feel it, but I can't really hear it. So
right.
So maybe, I don't know, but that has to do with how we set up. We're going to spend a little more time on make sure that we get the right setup so the bass can come through when it needs to.
Right.
And get a better balance. But overall, I feed off Ricardo and Greg, really. Um, so a lot of times I'll hear them do something, and I'll try to emulate what they're doing, right? And that's how you get the little groove going. And my biggest problem is for solos, I need to slow down. My heart gets a pumping, I'm off to the races.
All right, so that's going to be fun to work on. Well, we've been working on that for a long time, haven't we? And talking about it, working
that's
on
the
it.
called work.
Right, that's it.
Work.
We'll get there. I want to thank you for joining me in discussing MoWatts, which is the first episode of Last Date at Delicious at the Dunbar.
Okay.
And, I look forward to hanging out with you guys in future episodes of Last Date
Absolutely.
as we discuss, a few of the other tunes that we recorded on that day. Recorded by Paul. Thank you, Paul, for doing that. And Greg, because Greg recorded a few tunes as well. So we'll pick something, whatever you guys want to do, so that we can keep our fans in the loop on where we are. Let them know that we're still in existence. We are surviving COVID-19 musically, as well as physically and mentally. So with that, gents, see you next time, and be safe. Well, there you have it. And thank you for joining us for this episode of Last Date. And we hope you come back for more. Until the next time, signing